Hello friend and welcome. In today's video, what I wanted to do was talk to you about how to find out information for student visas to study in Australia. On my screen, I have come to the Department of Home Affairs website. On this website, there's information in reference to all the different types of visas that you can apply for. There is some general information about things like publications, about COVID, things about immigration and citizenship, and there's many other types of information that you can access here as well. But for the purpose of today's video, I want to focus on the student visa, which in Australia we call the Subclass 500 visa. So in order to find that information, we're going to go to the Immigration and Citizenship link. So when we click on that link, it's going to bring us to the a news page. And in this page, it talks about entering and leaving Australia, visas, Australian citizenship, what the department does, settling in Australia, and other help and support requirements. Just a few other points to note as well is if you scroll down, there is also some additional information as well that you may find useful to you, like for example, visa conditions, what happens when your visa expires, becoming a citizen, and so on. Underneath that, there is also some information in here as well, like news and those kind of things. But coming back to here, let's click on visa and let's click on getting a visa. And then here, what we can do is we can see a couple of other different options. For example, exploring visa options, list of visas, visa processing times. That is something that is quite often asked about me as well, which we'll come back and visit shortly. Changing visas and fees and charges for visas. That's another one that I often get asked about as well. So for the purpose of this video, let's click on list of all visas. And you'll find that the visa categories are broken up into different sections. So here we have different types of visitor visas, studying visas, family and partner visas. As you can see, there's a few, and also working and skilled visas as well, and refugee and humanitarian visas and other types of visas as well. So the list is quite big, but for the purpose of today, we're going to look at the student visa subclass 500. So let's click on that. So when you come to this web page, what you'll find is things like about how long can you stay in Australia with your enrollment, what is the cost for that you can expect to pay for a visa. Now, when you look at the cost here, you're looking at the cost from the department's point of view. This does not include the cost that you may pay a migration agent to help you to complete your visa. So very important that you understand that there may be additional costs on top of this as well. Now, other things you can look at is processing times. So if I just right click on this, just to give us a bit of an idea. So when it comes to processing times, these will vary. The best way to track your application is to either one, talk to your migration agent, or two, open an account in the IMI account. So that way you can also track your process as well. And there's information in here of how often you can look at it. There's a checklist there to how to view your processing time. So this is really important. On average, from an Australian point of view, we tend to allow anywhere between 8 to 16 weeks. Now, that's a rough guide. Sometimes, depending on the backlog of the visas, they can be a little bit quicker. They can sometimes be a little bit slower, depending on where your passport is from, the country you are from. So this can sometimes delay the process as well. So I just wanted to sort of flag that with you because it's very important that you have a good understanding of this so you don't feel like you're disappointed as well. So coming back to our visa page here, so you must be enrolled in a course of study in Australia, hold overseas student health cover, which is important. You'll need that before you can apply for your visa. Must be 6 years or older. Now, most of the international students that I work with are over the age of 18. But in the case if you are under the age of 18, you'll also need to make sure that you have a guardian. A couple other things you can look at here is you can see what the visa conditions are. You can work out if you're eligible as well. And there is a button here for you to apply for a visa if you want to do it yourself. But if you're not confident, what I would always recommend is to use a migration agent. Now, when we look at the conditions, let's click on the conditions. So here you'll see you can check the visa condition requirements. So if you scroll down, you can see the visa type that we've selected, and you can see what some of the conditions you may be restricted to. So for example, work restrictions, 40 hours a fortnight. So if you click on the tab, it will give you some additional information of what you can and can't do while you're on this visa and so forth. So it talks about work restrictions, maximum 3 months of study. So things like meeting course requirements, which is really important. So something I would definitely recommend that you have a look at. Things like limits to study changes, study limitations, all those kind of things there that you'll find that could be a restriction on your actual visa condition. So as well as having the subclass 500 visa, you can it's also important to see that if there are any specific codes that come along with it as well that you need to be aware of. So if you click on the conditions list, so here you can see what are some of the what the list can entail as well. So it can be quite a big list, but my focus is stick to the visa conditions. That's the one that you want to really just stick to when you're looking at the sub 500 visa. And now I've lost it, but that's okay. So we'll hit the back arrow. That'll get us back there. There we go. So one of the other things that you'll also do eventually is you'll sign up for an account, a VEVO account, and this will allow you to check your conditions online. And it's also going to be useful for your school, whether it be for a vocational college or for your university, so higher education. They'll also be able to have access to check to see if you've got a current visa for studying, or if you have work rights and those kind of things as well. So going back to our main page again. So other things that you can look at here is your about the visa. So with this visa, you can participate in an eligible course of study in Australia, travel in and out of Australia. As a temporary measure, you can work unlimited hours in any sector. See temporary changes to visa work conditions for student and working holiday makers. Now, one thing I really want to make note here is that there's been a change to the requirements for a period of time now, but as of the 18th of March 2022, this information is correct, but that will be subject to change at some point back to 20 hours a week. So do keep an eye on that. How long can you stay? This is a temporary visa to study up to 5 years. This type of course and its length will determine the length of stay. Primary school children enrolled in years 1 to 4 will generally only be granted a student visa for a maximum period of 3 years. So it talks about staying longer, if you're including your family, what are the costs. So as we mentioned earlier, $630, that's what it starts from. So it could go up much higher than that. You do have a calculator to work out the visa pricing estimate as well. How to apply for your visa, package courses. Now, package courses are where you're doing courses between two different colleges. So, for example, you might do an English course with one institution, and then you may do a university degree at another. And when you put those two together, that's what they call a packaged course. Or it could be where you're doing two or more courses at one particular college only. So that takes into consideration as well. Processing times. So here we can see a rough idea of what the processing times are. So let's go to here for English schools. So if you're applying for an English school, if you're looking at 50% of applicants, 50% of applicants will be 28 days. So it can be, you can see here that there's between 17 days and 15 months. So there is a bit of a discrepancy there of how long it can take. And then the same goes similar with the vocational education and training. You have between 26 days to 11 months. And then for higher education, you have 10 days, which is quite quick, to 5 months. So at a university, you may get your visa application approved much earlier compared to a vocational college, compared to an English school as well. So ELICOS is an English school, if you're not aware of that. Then there's your obligations. So what you're supposed to do while you're on your visa, your travel requirements, and those kind of things. So if we have a look at the obligations, this brings us back to the visa conditions as well. But the main thing to remember is that as a student, it's very important that you stay on top of your studies. So you need to make sure that you're not falling behind. Sometimes it can feel like a great thing to work full-time while you're in Australia, even though you're on a student visa, but it's still your responsibility to make sure that you're submitting your assessments on time, that you're passing your exams, because what will happen is if you're not progressing at your school, chances are is that if your school can report you to say that you are not progressing as you should be. Now, if that happens, there is a greater chance of your visa being affected. And if your visa gets affected, it could mean that you may have to go home. So in one of my other videos, what I've done is I've created a study planner that can help you to stay on track of your finances, stay on track of your studies, and also help you to set some goals. Now, I will provide that link down the bottom to help you if you are a type person that needs to have some kind of structure to help you to stay on track of your studies and things like that as well. So I really hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to share it with your friends. And if you like this content, please click on the like button for me. I would really appreciate that. If you do need any help, please visit my website and make a booking for a 1-hour free consultation. I will be more than happy to help. Until then, good luck.